Congresswoman Williams, I love that when Raffensperger and Georgia were invoked, you found a way to say that part, because indeed the methods of voter suppression are ever evolving, and that is part of what you are addressing in your most recent spate of legislation. Tell me how the legislation meets the moment we find ourselves in.
You're exactly right. 11,000 votes in Georgia, 5 seats in Texas, counting jelly beans in a jar 60 years ago. We might not be still counting jelly beans in a jar, but they are still attempting the same thing, and that is restricting free and fair access to the ballot for all people in this country that are eligible to vote. They want to decide who's eligible. They want to decide who you vote for. They want to let the members pick their voters and not the other way around. And you'll hear a lot of people tell you that, well, but Nikema, you've been out there and you've said that this is unfair and we should have fair redistricting processes. And you're exactly right. But this is the game that they put before us, and we will step up and we will meet fire with fire and play the same game, because we have people to protect and voting rights to protect. That's why today, on the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act being signed into law, I introduced a comprehensive voting rights package with 10 bills that would expand the right to vote, make voting more free and fair across the country, and standardize these practices. The John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act that my colleague Terry Stoll has reintroduced over and over. We got it passed through the House. We got to get it through the House and the Senate now to get it signed into law so that we can review states who've had a history of the things like Texas is doing, and states like my home state of Georgia, where I grew up in Alabama. These states with a history of discriminatory practices against voters, we can reevaluate what that standard should be, what that formula is, so that we make sure that voting rights should be equalized across the board. Because what is happening in Texas is happening in other states. We've heard people in Florida say that DeSantis might want to try it. My first 3 years in Congress, I had 3 different congressional seats, and my maps are back in court right now. They just haven't been quite as blatant as Texas. So we have to make sure that people of conscience and that are standing up for the right to vote are speaking up and not being run over in this process. So if you lay the game before us, we're going to play the hand that we're dealt.